So let's simplify this incredible bun fight over Melbourne's failed hotel quarantine program. Chairman Dan and the Federal Defence Minister disagree completely about whether the ADF offered to run the program and who made the decision to use private security companies over defence personnel. Fingers were pointed in all different directions today. But we are getting closer to the truth, I think. Victoria's opposition leader, Michael O'Brien, joins me right now. Michael, thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Chris.
I want to start with what the Premier had to say very earlier on today at the press conference. This is what he said about your party. Have a listen.
I would have thought it was pretty obvious who was focused on the politics and who's focused on the global pandemic.
Now, that was in response to last night when you were calling for the Premier to resign. After the Emergency Commissioner's statement today, do you stand by that?
Absolutely, Chris. Look, what was very clear is that yesterday Daniel Andrews lied to the people of Victoria and he lied to the Parliament. He came out and said that there was no ADF support was on offer. Well, that is just untrue, and he knows it to be untrue. Now, I don't make that charge lightly, Chris, but I tell you why I know the Premier knows his words were completely false. Number one, he's a member of the National Cabinet, and the National Cabinet decision on hotel quarantine said that ADF support would be available. The second reason I know the Premier's words were untrue is his own press statement. Because when Daniel Andrews announced Victoria's arrangements for hotel quarantine, in his own statement he said, it has also been agreed that the Australian Defence Force will be engaged to support the implementation of these arrangements. Now, what's happening, Chris, is that Daniel Andrews is just desperately trying to avoid responsibility, his government's responsibility for the failures of hotel quarantine, which have led to Victoria's second wave, countless deaths, countless jobs lost, and Victorians in lockdown.
You see, despite those statements, he seems to have, in the last 2 days, had this problem of selective amnesia.
Well, someone who's been opposite Daniel Andrews for quite a while, it's not a surprise to me, but it might be a surprise to many people who are watching Andrews at close quarters for the first time. This is a bloke who will literally try and walk away from his own press statements and say, I never said that. Now, our job as an opposition is not to be polite, it's to get to the truth. This failure of hotel quarantine, as I say, it's led to our second wave. It's therefore the biggest single public administration failure in Victoria's history. I can't think of anything else which has cost billions of dollars, over 100 lives, thousands and thousands of businesses and hundreds of thousands of jobs. So we are going to keep fighting until we get to the bottom of it. Daniel Andrews can run, but ultimately he can't hide.
Yeah, not to mention the impact on other states as well. Now, Jeff Kennett, the former Premier, has been quoted saying, I have been disappointed at what I would say is the lack of leadership being shown by the opposition. He's talking about you there. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, Chris, look, Jeffrey's always one with comments, and I understand that comes with the territory. There's one thing that an opposition leader has in common with a footy coach, and that is that there's plenty of people to tell you how to do your job. Now, we had another former Premier, this time from New South Wales, Mike Baird, out the other day, and he was saying that we were going in too hard. So one bloke says we're going too hard, one bloke says we could go in harder. My view is we're in the sweet spot. We're working hard to support Victorians, but we're going to hold this Andrews government accountable.
It is tough, though. You're in the middle of a pandemic. We're seeing scores of people die, you know, every week. You somehow have got to hold up the government to scrutiny, but at the same time, you don't want to be accused of playing politics each and every day.
And that's exactly it. You know, we're not interested in point scoring. We're just interested in getting to the truth so that people can be held accountable. And we want to get to the truth so that mistakes can be avoided in the future. Some people don't like me criticising Daniel Andrews, you know, the I stand with Dan #mob. Well, bad luck. I've got a job to do as leader of the opposition, so does my team, and that's to hold the government accountable, but to support the Victorian community while we do it.
Yeah. Daniel Andrews hinted today that if the public didn't follow the rules, Victorians may be in lockdown through to 2021. Is this likely?
But goodness me, I hope not, Chris. I mean, we've lost so much here in Victoria. People are losing hope. You know, they can't see their families, they can't catch up with their mates, they can't go out and, you know, kick a footy for more than 60 minutes at a time, and you've got to wear a mask when you do it. We used to be the major events capital of the country, and now, you know, the biggest major event is getting an hour out a day to walk your dog. We really need to get through this stage 4. So I do encourage people to wear your mask. I do encourage people to follow the rules, because the sooner we can get out of this stage 4, the sooner we can get a semblance of our life back, and we can rejoin the rest of the country.
OK, that sounds like a good idea to me.